Welcome back to Alphas Talk. Today we're going to speak to you about your first rifle, whether you should buy your first rifle or build the first rifle. Assemble, build, whichever way you like to hear it. What we discuss are things and topics that are people sitting outside and watching us. Hopefully you get to understand where we're coming from and you learn from it. If you have any questions or any topics that you want us to discuss for you, please put them in the comments.
But also think about, when I bought my first rifle, I spent a lot of money on it. Then when I bought some rifles down the road, then I learned, okay, I can find some good sales prices where I can get my rifle prices down cheaper. It still wasn't good enough for me, so I decided, okay, I'm going to build my own rifle. Now what you have to watch, okay, is if you build your own rifle, it's going to be twice as expensive than what you can buy a rifle for. So you have to consider a few things. Okay, if I'm buying this rifle for I'm building this rifle for competition, am I building this rifle for home defense or just plinking, or what is the use for this rifle? Because you can get mil-spec parts at a very good price off of a lot of the internet sales, and a lot of stores is having sales. So you have to consider, what is your price point? What's my maximum amount of dollars I'm going to spend so you can save some money?
I like to blame people. All right. So if something doesn't go right, who's at fault? So I prefer to purchase the firearm that I desire. Nothing against people who put their own rifles together. But when you do put your rifle together, you have to understand all the smaller parts that go along with that. So a lot of times I hear people who are just getting into rifles, and someone who's already a shooter already or owner of firearms, they say, well, build it is better than buying a new one. It's cost cutting, you can get what you want. But if that person doesn't know what they're doing, then you're pretty much on the outside. Yes, you can go to YouTube and pretty much find videos that show you exactly how to put a rifle together from scratch. But if you don't have the wherewithal to do that, then you probably want to step to buying your first one, learning it, taking a class, an armorer's class, to learn how the parts go together and what matches and what doesn't match, because this is dangerous. If you make a mistake, and I'm just going to use one part in particular that I'm aware of, and your head spacing is not proper. If you don't know what head spacing is, you might want to talk to somebody behind the counter and buy your first gun. But once you understand those things, you can pretty much make changes to your firearm or to your rifle in particular and make it, customize it to you. But you have to know those things, or else you can get yourself hurt or others.
Or you'll end up with an expensive paperweight.
Yeah.
And you'll go down to the range and go shoot, and you end up having a Jam-O-Matic.
Yeah. Or some other malfunction that just occurred basically from what you built. So that maybe your gas key is not staked properly. There's a whole lot of things that can go wrong with you assembling your own gun. You think about it. Would you assemble your own car? If you say yes, then you probably have a mechanical understanding. If you say no, that's the same thing. If you're not mechanically inclined, you may want to stay away from building or assembling your own firearm.
But you can buy the cookie cutter parts. The upper receiver can be a cookie cutter. The lower receiver, you can buy it already assembled, or if you want to assemble your lower receiver from scratch. The same with the upper receiver. You can assemble it from scratch or buy it already pre-assembled, and you just actually assembling the gun, not building the gun. So there's several different options you can do. There's several different online websites you can go to that have very good prices on parts. And if you're very frugal about what you want to do and you're very familiar about how to do it, you can save a lot of money.
And remember, if you don't have the tools to do it, don't start it. You cannot make up something later on and say, okay, I'll just use a wrench when you need an AR rifle tool.
Right.
So there's certain parts to these guns that are just, you have to have those tools. And if you don't have the proper tools, do not start it at all.
Right. So don't use a monkey wrench as a hammer trying to
Right.
beat some of these things in, because you will destroy the rifle.
Or you
And-
put it in a certain position, and then I've seen it in classes where somebody comes out and they can't get through a one-day class because the rifle
Is
is
it-
messed up. You got a buffer spring or a buffer in the rifle that's too heavy.
So, and you're out there with a Jam-O-Matic.
Yep, exactly. And this thing works because it's scientifically designed. There's an engineer, Mr. Stoner himself. These guys are brainiacs that put these things together. So you just can't go bubber it and decide, okay, this is good enough. No, it's not.
So think about what you want to do. Do you want to save money, or you want to have something good? First time, go to the store and buy something, because then you can return it, take it to the armor, have it fixed, repaired, take it back to the manufacturer.
Hell, you can contact the manufacturer, and most of these manufacturers that advertise a lot, they are very good with customer service.
Right. So with that, shoot us questions or anything. Also think about the Two Alphas Talk is on YouTube now. All our videos are posted there. Comment, subscribe, and like. And we're trying to get traffic on the YouTube page.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you on the range.
See you on the range, guys.